Thursday, the 18th of January. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. Of course, let's get started with the news coming through overnight that the IMF has concluded its sixth review with Kenya, East Africa's largest economy, and now will be giving Kenya's additional funding facility roughly $900 million. That would take IMF's intervention in Kenya to the doorsteps of roughly $4 billion American dollars. And that's the news coming through this morning from Nairobi. That's the big news. That's some relief for the Ruto's administration down there. So let's get on to the rest of the day, looking at where we finished off Wednesday, midweek for the Nigerian market, 2.38%, another 800 billion plus. The market went up again, roughly a trillion naira in local currencies. The market hit a new psychological level since it was created back in 1961, 90,000 reading. The market is down roughly 20.5% since 2024 started. That's more than half already of what was rigged up last year, 2023, as far as the NGS was concerned. The BRVM pulled back by about 0.25% from the 210 level on the composite. The Egyptian market seen a steady upside since the start of the week, bucked that trend on Wednesday, down by 0.67%. Nairobi stock market came back into the green territory by roughly 20 basis points. And the South African GSE fell with the rest of the developed and emerging markets. We saw a very choppy Wednesday across the European markets, including the London FTSE, on the news that UK's inflation was up at 1.5%. And of course, the market still sniffing around for what's the latest interest rate direction by the big central banks around the world. UK's Bank of England interest rate decision will be on the 1st of February. So the whole betting that interest rates will be cut rapidly this year is beginning to fade, and the market is getting to reset its outlook on interest rate for the current year. So the GSE down by roughly 2%, 71,693. But let's take that into the East Africa, and I just gave you the breaking news this morning as the IMF completes its sixth review. Kenya, East Africa's biggest economy, another $900 million plus is available on the table for President William Ruto's administration to take on and try to mitigate some of the impact of on his fiscal balance. Kenya is joining the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. That's a one step closer to China. And that's also in the news. The central bank, however, wants about 15 billion shillings from its reopened January bonds, which is a tap sale currently on Market Street. And good news for Africa, and in particular for Rwanda, which should be the home to the new innovative fund that's been created for the African continent. That's been done in partnership with the UNDP. It was announced Tuesday, early Wednesday, at the World Economic Forum. And a UK-Rwanda business summit, that huge gathering together, will be taking place later this month, January 29th to the 31st, the final days of the current month, while the UNDP and the CRDB Bank of FDN are partnering to empower small and medium enterprises in Tanzania. Let's take it to West Africa and grab a few headlines for you as you start your fourth trading and business week of the current week. The second, Fitch issuing a negative rate watch on Union Bank of Nigeria. Remember, this is Nigeria's second oldest commercial bank. It was the board and management was sacked just about 2 weeks or so ago by the central bank alongside Polaris and Keystone Bank. But because this is a listed bank on the NGX, Fitch Ratings issued a negative rate watch and said this could be reviewed moving forward after 6 months because it believes that regulatory actions in Union Bank is not over yet, and that the sacking of the board and management, replacing them with a two-man board, will not be the final word yet. So Fitch is putting everyone on notice. Nigeria's crude oil production was about 1.4 million barrels per day. That's a jump last month, according to the latest OPEC monthly report for the final month of last year. Then Gabon in Central Africa is looking to raise about 900 billion CFA francs from the Central African market, the BEAC, within this month. And while the Central Bank of Guinea in far west South Africa, West Africa, left interest rate unchanged at 11% yesterday to kick off the new year. And a French group, Vinci Energies, signs about 200 million euros deal for Senegal's electrical infrastructure provision. Those are some of the headlines from West Africa. Let's take it down to Southern Africa. And of course, the whole issue around the South Africa's inflation and interest rate decision, and how the SARB will decide pretty soon in January is everyone's focus. Inflation is also there, by the way. It's expected at about 5% this year, around 4.5% in 2025. The Minister of Finance, Godongwana, and the Central Bank Governor, Leseja Kiagiango, are both in Davos as we speak, and they are boots on the ground, granting media interviews, propping everyone up in a very crunching year for elections that's due in South Africa in April. Sanlam Insurance is banking on India's expansion because South Africa's market is weakened. Exness Fintechs announced scholarships is now opening its doors for South Africa's STEM students for the current year. If you have what it takes in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you can put in for the Exness FinTech scholarship. Wish you all the best, everyone. It's going to compete. The World Bank is revising Zimbabwe's growth slightly higher to 3.5% against 3.4% previous. Well, some news that the administration of President Emmerson Mnangagwa could use now. And United Nations is seeing a very slow growth for Namibia in 2024, despite a victory that Namibia got in the ongoing African Cup of Nations. Of course, let's take that all down, get into whatever you're watching in the field of sport for Africa. Let's get on to North Africa, by the way, and check in, because about 62.34% was the total subscription for those who wants to get into the Sanlam Morocco's takeover bid, and that's been reported by the Morocco's Capital Markets Authority on Wednesday. And Kuwaiti's Ashaya Group said it's closing its stores in Egypt because of the country's currency, the Egyptian pound's devaluation. And the EFCFTA is looking to extend free trade to 31 countries in the current year from 11 last year, and that's according to Wamkelemene, the Secretary General of the EFCFTA Secretariat, speaking in Davos, the World Economic Forum. And Schlumberger, that U.S. energy services company, says it's boosting its presence in Algeria. And finally, in North Africa, the APO Group has appointed Egyptian Rania El Rafai as the Vice President in charge of Public Relations and Strategic Communications. Congratulations, Rania. Wish you all the best. And of course, the rest of APA Group. That's one of the major news sources for Frontier Africa Reports. Wish everyone the best. Have a great Thursday, and bye for now.